You can train for a long time, you even should, if you're at a high level. Training often is both necessary and possible if you're at a high level. If you're not progressing well, you just need to train more often.
Hello guys, this place is called the Temple of Strength. Actually, it's my great-grandmother's old hut. The rings and pull-up bar hang over the basement. On these rings, I did a muscle-up plus 70 kilograms, which is a world record. On this bar, I did a muscle-up plus 50 kilograms. As you can see, to get stronger, you don't need special conditions. You need a special mindset, a state of consciousness, and knowledge. That's why I created a private community of like-minded people, fellow strength enthusiasts like myself. There, I share my insights on nutrition, training, exercises, and philosophy. Basically, everything that will help you get stronger in the shortest possible time. Most importantly, depending on your access level to the private community, you get a street lifting training program and can start practicing and getting stronger day by day as soon as possible. The link will be in the description, and we're continuing the video.
Hello guys, today we're visiting the Russian King Kong, I'm not afraid to say Artem Shirokov. While we were driving here, we saw a huge broken tree. Was that your doing? Well listen, your place is very peaceful indeed.
This land belonged to my great-grandmother, so I love it here. In the summer, I mow the lawn under the sun. And in the winter, I train in silence. Nobody bothers me. It's pure bliss, especially with this kind of music.
It really, honestly fits the pictures perfectly. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a Warhammer lore expert are you?
Probably a 1. I mean, my way of learning is just picking things up. I mean, I have no system for anything at all. I'm a completely unsystematic person. A man of fate. Not a man with a plan. And that's why I get interested in certain characters and I just start picking them out. For example, in Warhammer, I'm basically only interested in one character, the Emperor of Mankind. Everything else is just bits and pieces. Also, what really grabs me is the beauty of contrasts like Sanguinius, the most blessed, angel-like. You're familiar, right?
Over there, I'll get a shot of Sanguinius, brother.
Yet he's the most furious inside and his legion has the serious condition of the Black Rage.
Listen, it's interesting that you notice that it's such a truly powerful archetype, where both base and noble things are tied together in one character.
It's not even about pluses and minuses, but specifically the contrast of qualities. And it's just very aesthetic. And there's another Primarch, Conrad Kurz, who on the outside is, let's say, a total scumbag. But inside, he's a person who just wanted his father to forgive him and so on.
Vulnerable and all that.
And when they met, Sanguinius gave him hope that his father could forgive him. I mean, how can you hurt a character like that? Well, you can't. He doesn't care about physical pain and all that. I mean, he lives in fire. But then Sanguinius, the most blessed, gave him hope and immediately took it away. And the toughest one seemingly just softened up. In a cruel way, the beauty is in these contrasts.
You know, it's really like Warhammer did a great job writing their cosmology. It's really there. So basically, no matter what kind of person you are, you can find an archetype in Warhammer that resonates with you. Because there are so many characters, even just the 20 Primarchs, you'll definitely find someone among them.
I'd say they took almost all the concepts of science fiction and mythological plots. There are religious ones, and they mixed it all into one. And you'd think it's just pop culture, but I see a kind of genius in this universe. Because I even watched this one channel on YouTube, Daimori, and he's like, what is he? A linguist by trade. He breaks down Warhammer texts in detail, even the names, references to Latin, to Freemasons. Just a character's name, you'd think, but everything is so detailed. So it's not just some pop piece like, I don't know, the Marvel Universe. It's just, you can really feel the depth.
You hit the...
Oh, or another character, another Primarch, Lehman Russ. By the way, I just got a second puppy. It's a cardigan corgi. I named him Leman.
Listen, it'd be one thing if it were an alibi, but this is even more interesting.
The first one's name is...
And Lehman Russ is wolf-like, the space wolves.
Yeah. The first one's Frodo, and the second's Leman.
And why Frodo?
Frodo? Because we have the rings, and we have a Lord of the Rings painting hanging here.
Oh, there it is.
The bearer, the ring bearer, yeah.
Listen, I'm really no different from most people here. I think Lord of the Rings is the most consistent, most perfect film ever released, the whole trilogy. I can't find a single flaw when I watch it. It's always a treat. Even the director's cuts, which often add too much, are spot on here.
Lord of the Rings. What they filmed ages ago, they're just awesome movies, breakthroughs like the first Avatar. What moves cinema forward, as they say, not some pop stuff, but specifically...
I'd even, have liked to be a conscious unit when it happened, because people didn't believe it could be filmed. I mean, there was this big battle that the books were so epic and complex that it was impossible to film, and Peter Jackson comes along and films it. And I wonder, would I have been on the side of the people who read the book before and were complaining like, no, they missed this part or whatever? Or would I have accepted, well, not fully, some incompleteness, because there are quite a few changes? But I don't remember, in the books, Aragorn dies in the final battle, I think, but in the movie, they seem to let him live. Well, the fanboys will correct me.
In the movie, he's alive.
Yeah, he dies of natural causes later, after some time. But it's like his death would have added more tragedy. That kind of,
Death adds tragedy.
Well, that kind of tragedy, like... It's like in Lord of the Rings, you can die like Gandalf, and it's no big deal,
Well, only Gandalf can die like Gandalf.
That's true.
And others like him.
Okay, let's go over the plan then. Look, I came here largely because I have an interest in street lifting. So street lifting, guys, is when you're with extra weight. As I understand it, dips and pull-ups are the main disciplines.
If you take the European Street Lifting Federation, it's also muscle-ups and squats. There.
Squats? Do they add squats too? So that guys don't ignore their legs? Yeah, probably. Most likely.
Well, just because...
Just because, and how are you with legs? It's like if...
Well, it's fine.
You're doing an...
Well, for me...
Extra, if training...
I can do a pistol squat with 50 kilograms.
Well, that's very powerful. Those are your judo...
Yeah, judo pants.
I wanted something cool, right?
Damn, it's just comfortable.
Armor.
Just comfortable. It's cotton. Cotton itself is pleasant to the skin. And healthy, and plus...
Listen, it's so nice talking to you. You can give such a sensible comment on anything,
Because I love it. I love figuring things out, so it's wonderful. Now, I didn't finish about Lehman Russ. He also has a contrast. On the outside, he's like a Viking, like he just wants to fight, but inside he values life more than anyone. Well, probably on par with Vulcan.
And in what ways do you...
The Emperor created two spears, the Dionysian and the Apollonian. One spear, when you kill an opponent, lets the opponent feel the essence of things. That is, what he was wrong about, why he was killed.
Right. And
the second spear, on the contrary, whoever kills, lets them feel the pain of the slain. And so the second spear he gave to Constantin Valdor, who is just a killing machine, well, without emotions, so that he would be at least a little bit to balance him out. And it turns out he gave Lehman Russ the spear that helps the killed, the slain one, to feel what he was wrong about, so to speak. Because he was fine with understanding life, the value of life. Also a contrast. Outside he's like he just wants to fight, but inside he's as balanced and careful as possible. It's beautiful, man.
Well, why burn Prospero then? They could have just talked. So, what do we have? A warm-up?
Well, yeah.
I think, pretty much all the guys will be doing their training, whoever is here, right?
Of course, why else do we come?
I actually don't like warming up. I think it's so unnecessary.
I have a professional deformation from my judo days, when the warm-up was the hardest part of the workout, lasting, 40 minutes or even an hour and a half. There's acrobatics, general physical prep, and everything else. You're just dead, and after that comes the technical drills and so on.
Well, I did quite a bit of weightlifting when I was like 16 or 17. And I trained in a gym where, it was in Kazakhstan, so Ilya Ilyin would sometimes stop by. So it was a pretty high energy place. And indeed, what do the coaches say? That technique is honed when you're tired. Because if you have tons of strength, you can kind of slack off. But if you're already tired and you need to perform these technical elements, then you're like forced to strive for correctness of execution.
Listen, that's a very interesting thought. I even have a method that I'm training with now. The ultimate experience I've come to now is when I start with high volume sets. A layout is, it's the ratio of volume and intensity in a set.
Yeah.
Like, say, the number of reps and the weight you're using. And at the end, I put a high intensity set, usually a high intensity triple. You get tired at first, so you can't lift heavy at the end. But the muscle fiber recruitment that happens is as if you were lifting a heavy weight. Yet you're using less weight, so your musculoskeletal system tires less. So the nervous system gets the same training, but it turns out the musculoskeletal system is less fatigued. Consequently, you can recover faster and handle more training volume. And the nervous system gets a stimulus as if you'd lifted heavy right away.
Well, if you put it simply, it's kind of like drop sets or... I mean, the method isn't the same, right?
It's just that at first, drop sets are all from bodybuilding. We're specifically talking about strength training now.
Right, my apologies for desecrating this place.
It's fine with bodybuilding. I also did that here for a while. I went from 77 to 95.
And what's your weight now?
In 4 months. Right now, 85 or 86.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, so basically we just fatigue ourselves heavily at first with high volume layouts. Say on the parallel bars we do from 80 up to 80 reps. And then we move toward high intensity triples, there. And we keep loading up like that. It's called pre-exhaustion. Moving on, it's like a fractal. We have pre-exhaustion within a single workout. We can have pre-exhaustion within a single day, meaning we might have 2 training sessions.
Ah, that makes sense, yeah.
Pre-exhaustion within a week, when workouts follow one after another and we don't have time to recover. After that, say, we deload for 2 days and then do a peak workout with top sets, where we do everything without pre-exhaustion, going straight into high-intensity sets, and you just explode through it all.
Well, listen, your approach is so, I'd say, almost Olympic level. I mean, you're really deeply immersed in it. It's not like you just grab it and go, and some hidden genetic potential just carries you along.
Well, I generally love to analyze, and I've analyzed my own capabilities and limitations. Because basically, anyone who aspires to something starts by seeking the boundaries of what's impossible, right? And another phrase I like to repeat, a man who doesn't know his limits is a fool. So I immediately thought about what my genetic predispositions for success were. And I came to the conclusion that it's my ability to find special states of consciousness. That's the most interesting part. I mean, I can get really, wired. And I realize this isn't a trivial thing after talking to some of my colleagues in the field.
Is it some kind of... Do you have different states, or is it one state that's...
They can be different. I call them flashes of spirit.
The free movement of the soul.
Flashes of spirit. It's like... I don't know if you know him. Vadim Demchok.
Man, I've heard something, but I can't place it.
Shame on you.
Oh, wait a second. Vadim Demchog. Hold on, Demchog?
Demchok, yeah.
Well, you know, he's actually the actor who played the character Kupitman in the TV series Interns, a role that, well, honestly, it doesn't exactly signal or indicate that the person has a particularly rich, diverse, or impressive background or experience.
Spiritual
Depth.
That's Kupitman, but
He's
actually just the greatest guy, really.
You can check him out. He has quite a few open lectures on YouTube.
He has an app called Demchog, and he reads books there completely for free. And the literature he reads there, they're awesome, just brilliant books. And there's this book, The Master's Code, with this concept of flashes of spirit. For a master, at first they're just flashes, but when you're a true master, your whole life is one big flash, meaning you're in a peak state of consciousness. And that's what I'm striving for.
Well, considering we're talking about this in the context of lifting heavy weights, and let's say it's not just about muscles, but also the nerve's ability to transmit our willpower, then most likely... Okay, so what are you suggesting I do?
Shoulder warm-up.
I don't know how to do this, brothers.
Look. Stand like this. Keep the humerus in place. Just a movement like this. Look! Stand up. Stand like I am. In relation to...
Let's try. Yura, maybe?
Got it fixed.
Oh, okay.
About 15 to 20 times. Does it hurt?
No, I'm just trying to feel the muscle. It's an unusual exercise for me.
We're not feeling the muscle here. Our goal here is to lift the weight. You see? It's about movement efficiency. Different goals.
I get it. Yeah, I need to quickly switch gears now.
I mean, I get it. You did bodybuilding for many years.
Yeah, and didn't succeed, by the way.
It's a slightly different modality.
We look cool standing here, like some boy band, you know? Do you like to sing, Artyom?
No, I was in a choir for 4 years as a kid, but I don't remember those 4 years at all. I only know from my parents' stories that I was in a choir for 4 years.
Was it a church choir?
Oh no, it was a choir in, what do you call it?
I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was a church one.
And look, did you do the other hand?
Yeah.
And look, now we have first towards us, now away. It's harder here, so you can leave just one band. Yeah, they're doubled up now. No, just leave one.
Okay, I need to engage my spatial orientation. You know, before you said that, I didn't really know if I had high parameters in spatial orientation or low ones. But now I'm doubting myself a little bit.
Oh, listen, everyone who comes here, like my students and so on, immediately shows their level of spatial orientation and their counting level when you tell them to add up some weight or other. And when they can't for 5 minutes figure out what weight they need to put together, it's a classic.
I came here expecting a muscle challenge, but what I found instead are challenges that really test the mind.
Everything stems from the mind.
Before I came here, I tried lifting a little bit on my own. I managed to do 60 on the parallel bars, but that wasn't my max because
60 on the bars is not bad, listen.
Well, my weight is around 71 or 72 right now. And so I wanted to, well, basically there's this inner goal, like doing my own body weight, right? So 71 or 72 on the bars. I don't know if I have enough in me, but if I'm going to try, well, it's only here. So I'd probably like to do a run through under your command.
Usually, you know, when pilgrims used to come to me, we do a run through with them and then count it out, doing 2 sets at 60%, and it turns into a full-blown workout. We find out our maximum, and plus we get the workout itself.
Yeah. Listen, how do you generally feel about long workouts? As I understand it, yours can last for many hours.
They can last for me like 2.5 hours, or they can last 6 hours. So just like that.
It's just that in this mass bodybuilding or fitness consciousness, there's this idea that you need to train short and intense. And after an hour, either your hormonal levels drop or something else.
Well, we kind of understand that everything mass market smells like crap, right?
Well, there is that, yeah.
Well, that says it all. Then again, there's this great professional, Dmitry Smirnov, in powerlifting. And he's also reached great heights in terms of methodology, where he already sweeps away all mainstream approaches. And so let's say you can train for a long time, you even should if you're at a high level. You should and can train often if you're at a high level. If you're not progressing well, you need to train more often. You can just think about it from this point of view, philosophize. And we are a biological system balanced with the external environment. It's called homeostasis. And we are what we do most often. You can put a period on that.
Well, you know, in that sense, it's almost as if, you know, there are certain steps, right? And the first step is you come in, start doing sports, and you're like, well, I have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, you train a lot, and you progress to a certain degree. Then you move on to the second level, as it were, where you understand the importance of recovery, right? And start resting more. And then it turns out that it's a double bottom, and we need to resurface again into, well, high intensity, powerful training. I mean, how it happens, specifically the change in consciousness?
I understand, yeah. I just want to pull you into my philosophical corner again.
Go ahead, explain. The more the better.
You just have to understand what power is. People don't understand what power is. They even train from a position of frailty. They crush themselves into the ground. Power isn't about forcing yourself. Power, it bursts out of you. So when it's matured, it literally tears out of you. You do it with a smile. So it's like, you know?
Yeah.
So you fill up with power. I have this phrase, I formulated it. The life cycle of power. Power begins in opposition, matures in peace, and once matured, strives for release. So power must be released. No need to squeeze it out of yourself, to strain yourself. You need to release. Very important. Say you're doing a set, you have it planned, the plan is above all, as they say, the plan for the person, or rather the person for the plan, not the plan for the person. Many are like that. And you fail the plan, meaning at least one set, you didn't manage to finish at the maximum. Seems like nothing. It's not nothing, it's a defeat. Defeat leaves a scar on your heart. And a scar doesn't make you stronger. And vice versa, when you took a task within your power and completed everything, you understand? Moreover, these moments, they are unnoticeable. Do you lose often? Okay, fine. Well, failed and failed. The main thing is I get up later, it doesn't matter that I fall. No way. Over a long period of time, a cumulative effect occurs. You don't achieve those levels of consciousness that you could. And vice versa, when you win, you experience new states of power. There.
So look, in order for me to continue to maintain this positive vector, where I don't end up a loser in my own eyes and in my own mind, I have to... And what, for example, about training diaries, records, plans? How do you feel about that?
I'm an intuitive approach person myself, but that's a high level. To switch to an intuitive approach, you first need to learn to plan flawlessly. There. I like to repeat this phrase. Some commander supposedly said it. Planning is everything. The plan is nothing. This tells us that essentially no plan, even the coolest one, reflects reality. The most important thing it does is it makes us, an ordinary person, do more than without a plan. With a plan, do more than without a plan. And most importantly, when you constantly plan, the more often you plan, the more often you catch feedback from reality.
I like how you frame training as, that is, you go from training into discussions and concepts that basically lead us to our overall relationship with reality.
Well, because, doing such boring stuff year after year, you have to somehow dress it up.
Exactly.
And I'll just continue that thought now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we logically arrive at the point that a good plan is a maximally flexible plan. And if we take this to its climax, to the level where your flexibility enters a singularity where there's no plan anymore, only an intuitive approach. Well, I call that being a master of life's flow. Meaning you already feel it, you don't build it, you feel it, you're part of this, so to speak, life.
Well, indeed, a plan is something built with the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is, in my view, a rather weak agent. In what sense? That most events that happen to us, and even events we ourselves originate, they happen natively, right, on our subconscious drivers. And to rebuild the subconscious specifically, right, some of your habits, to find a connection where you say intuition, right, the higher you go there, the more you hear and understand your intuition.
No, I would put it differently. A plan is, as Ivan Petrovich Pavlov would say, the physiologist. It's a constant striving for dynamic stereotypy. These are stereotypes, these are patterns that we try to cling to, and consciousness from the word to be conscious of something, that is our divine spark.
Okay, fine, I guess.
Get it?
Let's save for the podcast our, well, not exactly battles, more like an interesting discussion. Yes, we'll have a podcast with Artyom a bit later. So subscribe to the channel, check it out. Oh, by the way, which channel will it be on? It'll be on one of them. Subscribe to all of them. I'll post links everywhere.
So, look, as for the equipment we have, the belt.
Mm-hmm.
We simply put it on like this, and then we hook it with the carabiner. And we have 2 climbing carabiners. We take the rope. This is called the safety lanyard for climbing, both industrial and regular. It can withstand 4 tons, not some crappy chain.
We see what Artyom's goals are.
Well, this belt, it can actually withstand, I don't know, as much as needed, it'll hold. And basically our weight hangs at the bottom of the legs. Meaning we grip it with our feet. Not at knee level, but at the bottom of the legs. That way we have better control over the weight distribution. And it's optimal that way.
And in street lifting competitions, can you adjust all these things yourself, or is there some kind of regulation?
Depends on the street lifting competition. It turns out in our Russian ones, yes, you can bring your own equipment. For example, the Final Rep Federation in the Czech Republic, there it's only their belt. Well, they certainly thought that through cleverly, so people would buy their belts. That's right, that's how things are done. See, and you can hang the weight at any height, but there's already a cannon here. meaning the optimal technique, the experience they've gained, no professional hangs it at knee level because it's just not optimal. Well, let me show you the technique now then.
Okay, editor, add a glowing effect here, please.
What's your house in Warhammer?
Listen, you mentioned Konrad Kurz, or Konrad Kurtz as he's sometimes translated. That's a reference to Heart of Darkness, maybe you remember. The Vietnam movie about the Vietnam War, Apocalypse Now, yeah, Apocalypse Now. And there was Colonel Konrad Kurtz, maybe you remember? In the end, the movie is actually based on a novella, I don't remember who wrote it, called Heart of Darkness. It's about this colonel who, well, went crazy, right, in that jungle violence, in that military violence. And so, well, they were actually very inspired, and Konrad Kurz is essentially this kind of twist on the colonel character from that movie or the book. And when I was a teenager and read about how Konrad Kurz is like a Batman type, only he's super cruel. He punishes on this planet Nostramo, everything's so scary there. And he becomes the scariest monster, so everyone fears him instead of running wild. Well, as a teenager, I really liked that, like a lot. But as for characters in Warhammer, well, maybe I don't have specific characters that really fascinate me. I have more of, well, the spirit itself, the aesthetic itself, that's what really attracts me. I probably like the idea of a xenophobic humanity, yeah, where it's not us. Where aliens are afraid of humans and not the other way around, you know, because we're the ones afraid they'll fly in and do something. But most likely we'll fly in and do something to someone. There's also a very high chance of that. Well, at least I hope so.
A proactive stance for humanity like that?
Yeah.
To be the threat, not to wait.
That's right. Though they're actually quite loyal there, they tolerate abhumans and ogrins, so it's fine. As long as there's a bit of human genome, you're good, bro. It's very interesting. I like how they managed to create mystery around the Emperor, that they didn't write a specific lore for him, but they're like, maybe he came from there, maybe he came from here.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah, I really like it. The idea of the warp as well, I communicate very closely with the invisible world, meaning some esoteric things. So esoteric things are close to me, religious things are very close to me. So I try to live my life like that too, trying to catch something with my spiritual antenna. And the warp as a literal reflection, meaning the emotional backgrounds, the energies.
It's a very cool concept.
I think I would probably feel more at ease and comfortable if the Warhammer world had some kind of supreme deity, maybe like a single god, you know, who encapsulates everything within himself. But there, the warp is like the highest level of what you can, well, sort of grasp or touch. I mean, in our world, there isn't even a warp. We can't even...
Listen, but there are the depths of the warp. And all these, it turns out, all these horrors are just this tiny fraction of its density.
As esotericists would say, it's the lowest atmanic layer.
There are actually profound depths where even the most terrifying demons are afraid to venture. So that's the thing. I think the Warhammer universe, it's like the Emperor, it's intentionally left vague and gives an unfinished name, right? A name sets boundaries, but here the name is unfinished, even for the Emperor. Nobody knows what his exact name is.
By the way, you know, this incompleteness, we talked about Lord of the Rings, how if you just watch the movie, there's actually much more mystery for you than if you, say, dive into the lore, right? Study the Silmarillion and realize they have a supreme deity, they have a complete cosmology, you know, the origin of the world, the universe, it has a certain direction, a certain design. So basically it's like a Christian vibe, I'd call it that. And I don't even know which way I like better. It's like with Lord of the Rings, I preferred the mystery, but with Warhammer, it's like I'd want to, you know, dive into those depths of the warp to see what kind of monstrosity lives down there. But maybe the point is that we don't really know for sure.
Because in winter you want summer or winter?
Well, you have really brought my long tirade to a close with a very thoughtful and wise conclusion.
So it turns out our anthropometry is about the same. Shoulder width, well, your arms are a bit longer. And so you'll be gripping at about my width, though you'll try gripping here, and right here. This will be the narrowest width, and this the widest width.
You know, my favorite comment after your shorts is, after these dips, he's obligated to marry the bars. That's it. The thing that cracks me up every time.
Not obligated. Violation.
Give it to me, please.
I think we'll grip it right here, at the narrowest part.
And they're angled out a bit for you, right?
Yeah, they sort of flare out like horns, just like this. So it turns out our center of gravity should go into the bar. Not like this, not over there, but right into the bar. Shoulder blades, we don't collapse in the blades, so we kind of, let's say, hunch a bit. Spread the shoulder blades. That gives us maximum control. And watch your legs. Our legs shouldn't move like they usually teach, like this. But let's say we're talking about vertically here, so moving up and down, just like you would imagine going from the bottom to the top or from the top to the bottom. See, I leaned forward, I have maximum engagement. Usually how? They just collapse like this and do it.
That's like a playground technique.
Yeah. This technique, though, right away, it might feel uncomfortable or harder for you. But it's the only, let's say, path to the kingdom of heaven.
To lift a lot, I get it. Indeed, the soul weighs quite a bit. It needs to be lifted. So, well, I think...
Wait, take off your slippers. Your feet won't freeze.
Yeah, almost. They're stylish, of course. I've been shamed. I actually stole these from a podcast studio in Almaty, so if you're watching, they're serving a good cause. Okay.
Look, see, your legs are drifting back. Hence your thighs? Yeah. And watch your toes, so they start from the same spot. And rise to the exact same spot.
Look, what should I do? What do I do with my arms? I mean, do I try to keep them close to my torso or with the elbows, or can they flare out?
Keep them close to your torso if you can. Then you won't waste extra effort on stabilization.
So, how much?
Did that look like what was needed?
Well, more or less.
You have to understand that, of course, there are some, let's say, general rules, but in all rules, there can always be exceptions just for you. And again, you need to find a technique specifically for you.
Well, yeah, you know, like when they show some high-achieving athletes who use unconventional techniques,
Yeah.
they've earned it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Or like a rounded back deadlift for some people. And you can't tell him he's pulling badly because he pulls a ton, 400 or even more. And there are squats too. There are people who squat over 300 with their feet positioned like this. And their knees go like this.
Yeah. Weightlifters.
I myself like to squat with my feet positioned like this sometimes. There. So yeah.
Listen, with this particular technique, you really actually...
Feel like a machine?
Nope. No, I don't feel like a machine. I feel like my plan for 70 kilograms is slipping away a bit.
Listen, if you feel that we'll go for the 1 rep max in whatever technique is comfortable for you. But we'll just set it up for you for the future.
Yeah. I'd like to establish the exact technique that gets results. Well, I've already been taking a look, of course. I understood that, this looking at your feet, moving them down. But for now, it's unusual.
That's why I'm taking my socks off again. I'm the only street lifting athlete who does it barefoot. Because I train at home. And so my feet don't slip, to grip with them. There.
Oh, that Tarzan style.
By the way, I have a street lifting Bible on YouTube if you need it. There are dips and muscle ups there, specifically with weight, how to do it with weight, how to hang the weight correctly and so on. So well, check it out. It's just that for many people, their legs drift away. The optimal solution is just to look at your toes and make sure they go up and return to the same spot. I mean, precisely.
Mm-hmm.
When we go for maximum weights, our torso naturally arches, we go all out. But when we warm up strictly. There.
So that we have some room for cheating later.
So it turns out your max is 60 for now, right? Shall we start from that?
Well, the ones I've done, 60. I mean, for pull-ups I did, I think, 45 or 48. Well, that wasn't the maximum because it was already after some workout. But it was tough.
Listen, you're doing fine. I mean...
Well, listen, I've been training almost all the time in not exactly a worldly way. Just a tiny bit. You see, I'm a bit of everything. I just can't fully fit into any single internet audience. A little bit of everywhere.
Well, that's the ideal scenario. It turns out I have this personal technique where I secure the plate by the front edge. Many street lifters, most of them lock out right here. Now you choose, well, you'll likely lock out like this. Try it both ways. Now I'll show you how I do it.
Artyom decided to do every single rep. So, how many repetitions should I actually do when I am exercising, so I don't lose my energy?
Let's give you a 15 right away. The 10 is smaller in diameter, it won't be very comfortable. You won't lose your energy because you're still young. You're full of energy and enthusiasm.
It's like, you know, an affirmation I tell myself, right?
Exactly.
Maybe that's the whole secret of strength.
The belt is charged. And we also have a 5th order spiral.
The 7th race.
I made it myself. A 5th order spiral.
Oh, it's metal. I thought it might be some kind of plant. And what does that mean, a 5th order spiral?
Look, our DNA twists into like a 9th order spiral or something.
Uh-huh.
And this is a 5th order spiral. It means a spiral coiled into a spiral, coiled into a spiral, coiled into a spiral, coiled into a spiral.
Well then.
Imagine this is a 5th order spiral and try to coil it into a 6th order spiral.
Oh, well then that's madness. It's like folding, you know, how many times to fold a piece of paper so it reaches...
Anyway, with a spiral, you can really, you know, how do you say, encode a complex structure?
I think I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, look. We take the strap.
I missed the instructions?
Put it here.
Uh-huh.
Come in from this side. Wait.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Everything's wrong. Well done. Secure it with the small one.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, this goes here and...
There, it's all logical. So how many reps can I do? As many as I like?
Just do it by feel if you like.
Uh-huh.
While it feels good, I mean until you get tired. Try to be explosive, I mean.
Uh-huh.
Do it fast. While returning down under control. Listen, that's nice.
Hey, thanks a lot.
It looks solid.
It's like with weight, even more so with the technique you showed, with weight, it's like, well, you get the point why it's like that.
Yeah. Because with weight, it's a different technique. And even when you can work, say, in a 6-rep set, and you go for singles, where you're doing 90% or a max, the technique for a max is already different. And you can say, progress in sets of 6, right? And you've seemingly built a base for a new max, but then you go for that max, and the technique is different, and you still need to get used to the max weight. Or you work on singles for a couple of weeks, just to get the feel of it.
Well, look, I'm actually a very greedy athlete. At least I've always been when I was trying to, like, get some results.
Greedy for what? To load all the plates for a single rep.
All the plates, all the reps, yeah. I mean, I was always trying to do a lot. And I also remember how much I annoyed the young athletes because I started late, I was 16 years old. And the coach, well, they'd say, well, it's unlikely you'll have any high results because the boys have been coming since they were 12 or 10 or 6 years old. But the guys I came with and we had so much enthusiasm that we trained a lot, did everything the coach said, and more. And those young 12-year-old punks, they were trying to slack off somehow. Well, for them it was already like a complete norm, you know, training a lot and often, and they just kind of... But we were held up as examples. They'd say, look, see, these guys came, they'll never even win anything, but they're training, and those young kids were really angry at us. And what's interesting is that I impressed them with a bench press of 80 for 5, just so you know.
Leg press?
No, bench press. Weightlifters don't bench at all. I mean, for them, benching is just a small accessory lift once every 2 weeks, and no matter what I did, they didn't care. But when I benched 80, they were like, what? This really seems like some powerful athlete has joined us.
A bit more, and it's 100 for 1, and that's already a serious statement.
And you don't train in those classic powerlifting styles?
No, well, I'm doing the overhead press now.
Overhead press. Well, that's the way, yeah, I guess. But a max, or...?
Well, yesterday I had 85 for 2 sets of 3 and 90 for 2 sets of 1.
But you can do much more, it seems, no?
Not much more, but now I can probably do about 100 for 1. But I've only been training it for about a month and a half, probably. And like, as a secondary thing, carefully, well, just for fun.
Well, you just like it.
Just to have another movement, to feel the progress.
Listen, do you not have mirrors here on principle, or you just haven't gotten around to it?
Well, I haven't gotten around to it. Well, I wanted to hang them, but then I just couldn't be bothered.
Well, looking at the Emperor isn't bad either.
Actually, why have a mirror when Marion is right there on the bars? He's looking at you.
Burning through you just like Nicolas Cage does in the very first Ghost Rider movie, right around the 48th minute, when things really start to heat up.
Oh wow, holy cow.
Well, let's not reveal all the cards.
Which part?
Well, the first one. There are two. The first one. I look at Artyom and think, if only I could get buff like that, and that's it, right? You said you'd bulked up more, just out of curiosity. Did you not really like being at that weight?
It was an experiment. So I basically went from 77 to 95 in 4 months. 25 for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an experiment to see how cross-section would affect my strength. But as it turned out, I'm not one of those athletes whose strength comes from bulking.
Mm-hmm.
For me, strength comes entirely through the mind. That's why I formulated this for myself back on my first podcast. That I'm not training muscles during a workout, I'm looking for a state of strength, new states of strength. Yeah. No.
Yeah, okay, fine. Spatial thinking, it really does actually suffer. You know, I've set myself a new...
Here. Right here. This goes right here. This is a point.
And this one here, or is it...
This is a point that's technically unimportant, but just a matter of principle.
Okay. Well, honestly, I have to say, I really do feel like some kind of monkey, you know, to be completely honest with you.
The Naked Ape.
It's like you're...
There's a book like that by Desmond Morris.
I don't know, I feel like after listening to you, I could have thought that was an order to strip, honestly.
That's for a bit later. Alright, the technique is actually good.
The main thing is just to exhale loudly, as if, well, you're strong.
Will you do it?
Yeah.
Only what's your 1 rep max, do you know?
To be honest, I don't know.
Come on, let's do a warm-up with body weight first, and then with a 10 or a 15.
Okay, over here now. Yeah, thanks a lot, Artyom, for... I just should have directed this better so everyone could train and work out, but... So you're just, warming up for now?
It's always a very active process when people come over. Everyone gets really tired, and it stretches out a lot longer. I used to always, buy meat and stuff at first to invite people over and feed them. In the end, we don't have time for anything. Just filming. And then you leave with your head spinning like that. Yeah.
Well, there is that.
Oh, cool. Seated Demon. I have a block like that, too.
I thought you were talking about Jekka.
New form, new state. Wanna go? Let's go.
Alright, come on, Jekka. Take over then.
Take over.
Alright. We're recording in 1080 there. Won't that run out? Yeah, if it runs out, then we'll just be uploading it.
I wanted to say that I always have this fierce sense of absurdity when I see high results in, resource terms or intellectual terms.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not really see, this kind of powerful, impressive physical structure behind it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
A sense of absurdity. And there's also this one guy on YouTube, I don't remember his name. He says, I basically don't listen to a person if I see that they even move their body incorrectly. Not that they're ripped, but just that they're a sack of shit, as my coach used to say. You know?
Yeah.
And your physical condition is, kind of average.
We...
And so you're an intellectual person, quite spiritual, right? So you're moving along that path.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Your growth zone is in high physical conditioning, not just average, not like for myself, like a little bit at a time, but specifically high, You'll feel it, you'll gain seemingly these ritual actions that will help you achieve new states of consciousness that you can use in other areas.
I see the point in that. I see the point.
The Emperor, damn, who's that?
Oh, that's a giant with a sword.
Slung over his shoulder.
3 meters tall, yeah, 3 meters tall with a flaming sword. Well, for a flaming sword, you could take some Kialis or whatever they usually suggest.
Yeah, so...
Oh, by the way, about states of consciousness. A little bit of marketing craftiness. We're going to give Artyom some ashwagandha. A very sound herb for feeling. The main effect of ashwagandha for me, and honestly, the reason why I even started producing and selling it, is because I felt... Imagine there are some stressful moments in life, right? Those moments that can cause, let's say, a sudden peak of stress or a strong feeling of displeasure. For example, something happens, you come home, and your washing machine is leaking. There's water all over the floor. Nothing about that is enjoyable. Well, it's really not very pleasant at all. And if without Ashwa I might feel a peak sting of 4 out of 10, right? That sting of displeasure. Then with Ashwa it'll be 10, 20, 30% smoother, that exact state. So that's what sold me on it.
I'll say this. It turns out ashwagandha is a great thing. We have, it turns out, stimulating supplements and calming supplements. Calming ones are GABA, DMA. Then there's, I don't know, cerebrolysin, which also makes you sleep well. And ashwagandha is also one of the best, and it turns out, why does it even help boost testosterone? Because when a person is constantly driven by stress, it becomes chronic stress. If short-term stress is normal and even useful, necessary, chronic stress makes all your systems crash, and ashwagandha levels that out well, it seems. But there's a flip side. For some people, on the contrary, it's hard to wake up.
Yeah, you need to...
For them to slow down.
You always need to, basically any substance, you need to really feel it out for yourself. So I generally recommend that if you start taking a supplement, try to isolate it so you're not taking everything at once, but rather testing it on yourself a bit to see what the effects might be.
Say, if I've pushed myself hard in training that day and my nervous system has experienced major stress and my stress response is maxed out, then I naturally take something that puts me into a state of suspended animation. Magnesium, ashwagandha, DMAE, and other substances that slow you down and calm you.
All right, let me take that from you. Guys, link in the description.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, thanks.
No, by the way, I really feel the ashwagandha. It's like, I just lie down before bed and like this.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Does lion's mane work for you? Do you feel it?
Man, I think these things work when you have a strong sense of purpose. Like when I'd take lion's mane and start listening to lectures right in the morning on an empty stomach, I'd take it and turn on a lecture while my brain was still fresh and not overloaded and everything was absorbed really well. And that's why I think these things aren't easily researched, because it's just very difficult to capture those moments.
Well, yeah, it's hard to tell someone that...
Yeah, find something that's important to you so that it's just impossible to build a research design.
Yeah, that's true. Same thing with fly agaric. In that sense, you know, it's not like I'm an advocate for placebos, but I don't see anything wrong with them. Right, so hypothetically, someone sells something that doesn't have an evidence base according to the research designs available to us. But at the same time, the person feels that it works. So what's the difference in that case? Well, unless we're talking about charging some colossal fortune for a pill like that, which would leave a person destitute. On the other hand, if you buy something that leaves you broke, that was very scary. Leaves you broke, maybe you're not very smart. And if you're not very smart, well, not much is going to save you. Not much.
If you're not very smart, yeah, then that's natural selection.
Okay, this is 75.
Phew.
The house, just so you understand, is vibrating.
Everything there is held up by a single brick. At any moment, we could all fall into the crawl space.
Guys, I'm really glad to be here with you in this difficult, challenging, and risky moment. Okay, I think I feel like going for 50.
All right, 50. Okay, let me just think about that for a little bit longer.
Listen, Besides using weight plates, are there any other perhaps even more convenient or practical ways to add some extra weight to your workout? No, not really.
Only plates.
No kettlebells?
Are you serious? Imagine having to put together 150 kilograms with kettlebells.
That's just your problem, Artyom. That's just your problem.
Look, street lifting, basically, what a word. Many will hear it for the first time now. So it's a sport, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And in sports, people achieve great results. And so this is basically a problem of the sport.
Well, I'm thinking maybe some kind of vest, although a 150 kilogram vest, that's also not serious, probably.
Only plates, only plates.
Maybe a powerlifter friend who grabs you by the belt, well, something.
Better than plates are only plates that are, how do you say, heavier?
Thinner ones, too.
Heavier ones, yes, and thinner ones. It turns out there are these 50 kilogram steel plates. 200 kilograms with 4 plates. It's great.
This setup is really great because what you do in the gym with the available belts, it compresses the lower back a lot.
Yes, and not just the lower back. Now don't rush, work on your breathing, look at the Emperor. He's looking at you.
Did I at least reach parallel?
Yes, it's fine.
Shallow.
But you rushed, didn't look at the Emperor, and did everything quickly.
At what point? I mean, what would you fix? A comment, basically. What's the feedback? What was wrong?
Well, there's not much to fix. I mean, you don't have any major mistakes, and your technique, the core of your technique is good, and it will only improve with practice now, like writing with your left hand.
Got it.
Sleep, you slept, you trained, you slept, you trained. Okay, Zeka, your turn. How much extra weight do you want?
15?
Yeah, I think 15. The yellow one, right here?
Uh-huh. Let's roll it out. Hold it. Listen, have you ever dropped it on your foot?
I dropped a 50. Right here. It was very painful. For the plates, they got bent.
Okay, look, hook it with the small carabiner to this little thing. I feel like when I'm helping my grandpa, where he's like, give me the screw, and I'm like, guys, which one of you is the screw, damn it?
Nice. So this thing...
Okay, look. Run it through, no, oh, well, okay, that works too. And then you can just throw this loop over if you want. Well, okay, let me see here. If I go ahead and press 72, then do we actually have micro weights available for this, or are we just assuming that we do? I just want to make sure before I continue. Or will I have to fill my pockets with sand?
There are micro weights here. 1.25, 2.5, 5, and even 0.5.
Guests. How much does a 25 kilogram plate cost these days?
Plates are expensive. I used to buy 25s for 4,500, but now they're starting at around 7,500. And that's the cheapest option.
Yeah, when I was looking for a kettlebell, I was shocked. Did all the drunks drink away the Soviet kettlebells and scrap them?
Well, you can find plates and stuff on Avito. There's stuff on Avito.
I just refuse to lift a non-Soviet kettlebell. It just feels like there's something wrong with it. The ones where the paint is peeling off a bit, you know?
Without rubber handles. Without rubber handles.
What's that? Let me wrap my arms around you very gently. Actually, this whole sport, you know, especially the gym, it's such homoerotic stuff, to be honest. Like when you're doing bicep curls like this, and the guy's like, easy. I mean, what is that?
Do you have a girlfriend?
I do. Does she help you train?
She definitely does.
Or does she help just by being a good woman?
She works out, you know, too.
Does she have specific strength goals in mind, or is she mainly working out just for toning and overall muscle definition?
She just does fitness. General physical prep and all that. And she also does street lifting.
Well, look, I think that for a guy like you, your woman couldn't not be into sport.
Well, yeah, it's a big part of my life.
Yeah, guys, so when you're looking for a partner, don't hope that, well, she doesn't work out now, but I'll influence her. You won't influence her. You won't influence her? Georgie, you're doing a lot already. That's a lot.
I'd even put it this way. It just occurred to me. Notice how when you try to influence someone, it doesn't work for shit. And who actually manages to influence? The one who doesn't try to. Meaning influence only happens in a passive mode.
It's like radiation.
Radiation like a passive reaction. Meaning you can influence just by your presence. But through forced action, because any influence, even the best, is a form of forced action. You won't influence that way because there's a freedom reflex.
Yeah, or you'll influence them temporarily, but the backlash will be worse.
Yeah.
100% absolutely, right here for you.
What's your goal?
I'm just joining in right now. 100, I think, now. Warm up.
Oh, you need the red plate?
I've got it all secured right now.
Like a pit stop.
You can't do this with one hand. Though, well, in your case, you probably can. And the edges are better here. You can just hook your finger on them. Now I feel like I've shown weakness to the subscribers. We need to cut that out.
I think you just showed like the middle ground actually.
Showed the middle, yeah. Man, I showed the middle ground.
Can you imagine the average subscriber?
The average subscriber? Well, I can imagine the average subscriber. They're so handsome and smart. Buying ashwagandha, just so you know, by the way. Oh, is that the Moscow Metro map on your forearm? That's intense. Is this music from the game Mechanicus by any chance?
I haven't played the games, but it's all from Warhammer.
Well, I used to steal music from there for streams. It's very
Yeah, listen, even the music.
immersive. So I did 50, maybe I should do 60, right? That would be logical.
Yeah, basically if you're ready, 60.
That's 2 reds and a green then. Or what's the best setup?
1 red, 1 blue, and 1 yellow color in total.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, what are those cards? Cards? I just put them in so they don't wobble.
Man, honestly, there really could have been such an incredibly deep and fascinating backstory here, you know?
Man, like when blood came over last, a bunch of nails. I left a little souvenir here. So 25, 45, 60.
So what did he do?
Tore it out. Like, just like that. Snap, snap, but it's hard to do.
He tore a piece off with his fingers.
Well, not just fingers, but like this. You just keep tearing. Like, maybe someone knows. Baki the Grappler, Kaoru Hanayama. Did I say it right? Kaoru Hanayama.
Hell if I know?
What, you don't know Baki the Grappler?
Look, to be honest, I actually know Baki, but really just from TikTok edits.
Lost your spirit. What's up?
Alright, well, forgive me, friends.
No, listen, you're missing out on a lot. That's it. You've come to the Temple of Strength. Now you're going to watch Baki right away.
I don't have...
Watch the last 3 seasons right now. And that's it. You'll have
I don't stand a chance.
a new level.
Anyway, can I have the belt? Where did we put it? Oh, okay, I see it.
Look here. Always brace yourself. Never rush. Rushing is a sin.
I agree. Equipment is for the man, not the man for the equipment.
Wait, just hold on a second. Roll the plate over. That's right, roll the plate over and get set, okay? Take your time. And make it all look aesthetic. Make it look good.
Artyom, whatever you say.
Yes, sir! Every moment in life is unique. It makes sense to make it as beautiful as possible.
Good thing you said as possible, because honestly, I'm like...
Imagine, it's a gladiator before death.
Minimus versus Maximus, that's what we'll call it.
Wait, for these purposes, here...
Oh, you don't even need this for dips, but I'll do it.
Come on, make this moment for a good short.
Let's go, guys. For a good short, I need to do some editing here, you know?
To make it bigger. Why are you in slippers?
I beg your pardon. I'm already done.
Why are you in slippers? Minimus, let's go. Go for it. Wait. Don't rush. Now breathe with your diaphragm, look at the Emperor, and imagine you're already doing it. Get your breathing right.
I'm already doing it. I'm doing it.
Get your mind right. Spend 10 seconds on this now. Take 2 breaths. Easy, easy, easy. You know, that was actually easy.
Nice.
Look, guys, here's the thing. When people come to see me, the hardest thing to convey isn't the technique or the technical details, but the mindset. It's the state of consciousness. It's completely different. And there are people who've even trained for a long time, but they still haven't reached the right state. They just don't know how to give it their all.
I saw a documentary where Eddie Hall talked about how he lifted... Wait, that's not safe, okay. Where Eddie Hall talked about how he lifted...
Yeah, you know, where he imagined that his kids were actually trapped.
Right. So he went to a hypnotist who suggested to him, well, look, how do you know the power of consciousness exists? Just imagine a naked woman and something physically happens to you. So we can trigger other states too, which are harder to evoke, but we can do it through effort, through the power of imagination, visualization.
That's why I say consciousness is primary. At least I like to think so.
100%. You know, I really like people who are able to talk openly and honestly about ultimate things, about the really big questions in life, about meaning, about the afterlife, and maybe even about an individual's unique mission or purpose in this world, all while always maintaining that, in reality, I don't actually know anything for certain. I mean, I don't have any hard data or concrete evidence to back it up. I just feel it deep down, and I'm not afraid to live my life according to those beliefs, even if I can't prove them. It's just something that resonates with me, and I find it inspiring when others can do the same. Embracing uncertainty while still searching for meaning.
Let's call it maximum idealism, combined with maximum pragmatism.
Yes, exactly.
So you have higher goals, but at the same time, you know how to count your money, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's in that combination that gravity is actually born. Everyone starts coming to you.
Well, yeah, for you it's in your own eyes.
Truly, when a person genuinely believes in the divine, the sacred, and all the events that, by all logical reasoning, should go against him, yet somehow, almost miraculously, work in his favor, he truly possesses mass. This is a remarkable thing to witness. That's an interesting point.
Charisma? Charisma doesn't exist without faith.
Charisma is already dark magic.
What is that? Just cuts it off like that.
It turns out, when one of the apostles came to Jesus and asked for just a little bit more charisma, hoping it would help him preach more effectively, Jesus replied, "I will not give you more, for my strength is made perfect in weakness."
Well, that's too... You can't just drop that and leave it, Artyom. You need to provide some kind of explanation. Because everything Jesus said...
We won't give anything. Let them find the keys themselves.
Everything Jesus said, you could honestly write an entire book for every single sentence.
It's an infinitely unfolding spiral of meanings.
100%. Well, maybe. A sixth order spiral, that is.
Well, imagine DNA is a ninth order spiral, meaning there are these twisted chromosomes.
So, how many kilograms are you doing? Kilograms? 50.
All right, let's go.
Let me help you. I'll roll it over.
And you know,
Just love being unpredictable like that.
everything should be done in an energy efficient way, always aiming to use as little energy as possible by choosing the path of least resistance. This means making thoughtful decisions to minimize effort and maximize efficiency in every task you undertake.
I really think our podcast is going to turn out pretty interesting, honestly.
I think so too.
I saw that. As a strongman, you consistently keep intriguing people, always drawing their attention and curiosity, but you have already built an audience that truly knows and loves you. When you came on the podcast, it sparked a whole new wave of interest. So I feel like now, in terms of your public presence, you should really consider sharing even more of your own inner workings, your thoughts, and what motivates you.
That's exactly what I plan to do. The only thing is, I constantly make myself cringe terribly. Listen, it'll be like, guys, you're all great for coming. What, did you guys prepare for 3 months? And then like, hey, should we meet up sometime?
So many anime titles have already been watched.
Looking good, just listen for a moment, okay?
No, George and I, honestly, when you say you're just an average guy, I totally get that as an athlete. It's like, whatever, I understand where you're coming from. But when I look at myself like this, I mean, honestly, I'm just like, well, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, you know? For a blogger, it'll do. For a blogger, it's fine. And Georgie, he's just... I don't even know. Is design your main thing right now? A jack of all trades, any kind of production. By the way, I'm promoting him. Georgie is a genius of visual mastery. He can do it all. And on top of that, he's strong as hell.
You said that for a blogger. It's fine. I formulated a thought on that. Satisfaction reflects your limits.
So you're really going to be firing off shots like that today, huh? I mean, seriously. Bam, bam, bam. Wow, just like that, huh?
It's true.
Guys, I'm not satisfied. Too few subscribers.
Look, the most important thing.
Subscribe.
The animal nature, it seeks to satisfy and satiate you. But as they say, sin is at your door, yet you must master it. Meaning you can resist that temptation and keep growing. Saying, no, this isn't enough for me. In a good way, I mean. Not out of pride, you know. That
is actually the peak when you can truly be satisfied in the sense of being genuinely grateful for what you have in your life, yet still strive for more. Because we have so many guys who come from such a fierce negativity. I mean, what you said, vanity, sin, and this kind of dissatisfaction is exactly what breeds vanity.
Yes, you know, let's say, well...
It's so nice when he agrees with me, you have no idea.
I have this inner conviction that I will live for a very long time, more than 100 years. A sincere conviction. At the same time, if I die very early, well, I don't feel any injustice in that. I mean, you see, as they say, die while you're alive. I mean, hope for the best, yes, but prepare for the worst. I mean, in that sense. And then it turns out to cut off the element of pride, so to speak. I mean, you go towards your destiny, you've been given strength, as they say, some to plow the field, some to rule. And yet, the one who is meant to rule and doesn't realize his potential, more will be expected of him. So essentially, everyone is equal before God.
You know, when I engage in communion with God, actually it's called praying, but for some reason it's hard to say that, you know, in a modern context.
Why?
It's like I see myself through the eyes of my 17 or 19-year-old self when I was quite a fierce atheist. And honestly, it's hard for me to say, but in my prayers, I often just really want a clear path, you know, like just give me not what I want, or don't deliver me from something, but instead give me what...
Lord have mercy. That's when you ask for forgiveness and everything you need, including a kick in the butt.
Yes, I mean, give me not what I want, but give me what I need. Yes, what is necessary for me. I think that's the most optimally honest thing you can ask for.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And also I often admit that I'm incredibly scared, you know. I mean, right there, deep down inside, there's a kind of fear, maybe a sort of anxiety about the absurdity, perhaps, of life in general, of what we're observing.
You admit it and you're set free.
Yes, but temporarily. Because you can't, you know, if you only come to God when things are very bad for you, then, well, it's not the best.
No, why? It's better to come anytime than never.
He outdid me here.
In principle, you have to understand, any prayer, all our actions are a prayer. It's our focused attention. Even a person who is as much of an atheist or nihilist as possible, he prays. He has his own idols.
Service is inevitable, I can understand you, yes.
And now the question is, what will you choose? What will you choose? Closeness as a technology, different technologies like modern or postmodern, right? Or you'll open up the system where a ray of sunshine gets in and feeds, so to speak, your pond. And it doesn't turn into a swamp, it flourishes, the system grows, evolves, evolution. Life is not knowing what will happen tomorrow, you see, that's it. So the choice is obvious. I mean, what do you put your basic axiom into? It will in any case be based only on your will, that is faith.
That is, by the way, the point that really inspires me a lot. I mean, the existence of God implies that a person is capable of drawing their own conclusions about the universe and is able to make risky, significant sacrifices and actions based on those conclusions. Because materialism implies that all of this is just some kind of hormonal joke that creates some flickering neurons sparking in the brain, and you have nothing you could lean on
No way. Well, you could put it like this. Is there a cause and effect relationship between the events of you hitting an anvil with a hammer and you hearing the sound? Is there any proof of this in principle? Is proof of this even possible?
Wait, I hear the sound just now, or...
You hit the anvil with a hammer and hear the sound.
Air vibration?
Is there a direct cause and effect relationship between these events? Is it provable?
That's a trick question. I can't answer that.
No trick. It's unprovable. We observe only correlations. And this leads us to the fact that there is always a blank space.
Listen, well, it's like the story where if the sun rose 1,000 times before, it's not a fact it'll rise tomorrow.
Look, everything leads us to the fact that there is a basic axiom that is based only on will.
On will? And what's there?
Wow, look, the Big Bang.
Uh-huh.
That's a basic and fundamental axiom.
Well, of course, yes, we are all in one axiomatic system or another.
Everything leads us to a basic axiom, it turns out.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I mean, whatever you put in the foundation of your worldview, that's what will nourish it.
The most important thought is simple, it's just to understand, right? It's from mathematics, right? About the incompleteness of mathematical systems, right? There is an axiom that relies only on itself.
Yes, systematically a system cannot describe itself.
This is easy to transfer to philosophy. Yes, to basically us, to our life. And you can understand that, okay, the element of faith will always be there. And now, what will you invest it in? I mean, it's simple. What are you putting it into? That is your subjectivity, what you invest in. What is the meaning of life? Is there a God? Is there not? I'm just searching and searching. Do you have balls or not? Be subjective. Make this choice yourself.
Drop the bun.
Let's go for 125.
Let's go. And my testosterone has gone up by about 120% now.
I want to do 100. Standard.
Well, listen, you know, I can only wish you the very best of luck. And what's your maximum?
I've never even done 100.
Well, you are very well built.
Let me show you.
And dressed very much in line with your state of mind.
Georgie, show your biceps, show your guns. Oh, damn.
It's fine.
Jacob, show us your biceps. Well, the lighting's bad there.
All right.
That's a good weight. So, Artyom, you got this big on butter, right?
Butter, creamy, rich butter, and some old rotten beef liver.
Why exactly rotten?
Because it's tastier, it's fermented, it just melts. It literally melts in your mouth, and it's yummy too. Liver doesn't rot, it sours because it has a lot of sugar, glycogen. Yeah, and it's delicious.
I didn't expect that. Let me digest that.
No, I thought he meant normal food.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, let me just remove this off here for a second.
No, I'll put it back myself.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I'm clapping loudly because you all went deaf when Artyom jumped down.
Yeah, there was some high pressure in the ears.
So what's your max right now?
My personal best is 170.
Has anyone else in the world lifted that much?
Yes, of course.
What's the world record in your weight class?
The world record, my friend Matvey Ratovakonnikov recently did 205.
What weight class is that?
That's the under 100 class. He weighed about 95, I think.
Or 100. What are the weight classes in street lifting?
Any of them.
What do you mean any? There must be fixed ones.
Who knows? I'm an unconventional athlete. I train for... It's my creative outlet.
Mm-hmm. So you don't really aim to compete?
That's primitive.
I wanted to ask about bloggers, you know? Who? Well, it turns out you...
Competitions are for the insecure.
No, it's not competitions. Like I said, the insecure are for competitions.
Satisfaction reflects your limits. People get satisfied with an athlete's life. In the end, they...
Okay, look, I did 60 before, and honestly, I think I can probably do 70 this time.
Yeah, take the 20.
Oh, that'll be... Oh, indeed.
Now we're into advanced math, logarithms and roots.
Of course. Until our inflation stabilizes, I'm not developing my math skills, got it? I don't want to be sad. Well, it turns out in Russia it's better not to know math at all, to be honest. I was just about to say history too, and, well, that's in any country. It's not just a Russian problem. Okay.
Why no history? Let history know you.
Hey guys, everyone. I never cease.
To be amazed. You're not doing it by the book again. Put it on the right ring. And outwards, outwards. It's really just a ritualistic element, in fact.
So, we do it outwards with this moving component, right? The latch mechanism. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Well then, brothers, let's talk about PM, which stands for personal maximum. You might be wondering what that means or how it's decoded. Basically, PM is just a way of saying your own highest achievement, the best you can do.
Look, don't talk now, just get in the zone. And breathing. Breathing really helps to activate the adrenal glands.
But what type of breathing? Deep or short and sharp?
Allow your state of consciousness to gently and naturally draw in all of the mechanisms, resources, and tools that will help you physically align and match with it. Take your time and move at a good, comfortable speed.
I know exactly who to learn from.
Comfortable slippers. Nice. There's some left in the tank. Absolutely beautiful, just beautiful. It really is. Just look at it.
2 more kilos, and honestly, I think I'll really be happy with myself.
I love to motivate. It turns out, I think, the best result for girls is 85 kilograms.
In the world?
Yes,
85?
I think so.
Well, the girl must be like that. Solid.
Listen, there are different girls. There's like a steroid girl. And then there are girls who are just girly girls.
Well, I'll beat that girl's record. So who's next, Jekka?
Let's go.
How much for you? 20 probably?
I think I did 25. I'm thinking 40.
Oh, you did 25 already. Okay, well look, there's 35. Ah,
15.
15s, that'll be 30.
Look, you take a 25 and a 15.
Have you done 40 already or not?
No, but I think it won't be a problem.
Okay, here you go. I'll give you the red one now. So, does anyone want to snack on some fly agaric?
I'm in, guys.
You can take a bit more.
Actually, to be honest, I really enjoy these long strength training sessions. Like power lifters, you know, when you finish a set, go have some tea with candy. Well, these are our kind of candies.
So it's just for strength, right? I don't feel any muscle pump at all.
No.
It's like I'm using my whole body.
Well, listen, so I think Artyom might have something to say about that now. What about the pump? What is it exactly?
The pump. We're getting acidified, yeah. Metabolic byproducts are forming. And plus, water also rushes in during high rep sets.
You know that feeling when you train like a bodybuilder and you leave and you can't even bend over because of the pump?
Look. Do you know that basically what this will do real quick? That is really nice, you know, I mean...
Nice.
Just make sure you do not drop down too quickly. Like a heavy stone falling straight into a deep quarry. Take your time and control your movement. But you know, interestingly enough, there is actually a study out there showing that even bodybuilders can experience muscle growth simply from the act of posing and holding those poses for a while.
What? Just from them intensely tensing their muscles?
Yes. And when they pose, what are they doing? More, they look in the mirror, thinking how awesome I look.
Well, listen, you know, they also actually inject themselves with...
The pump element, objectively.
Is that really such a significant growth factor?
It could be, but during a pump, what's the feeling? Oh, I've become huge in the moment, yeah. Oh, yeah. the state of consciousness changes. You see, if consciousness is primary, then everything else starts to follow suit. Like when you pray, right, to something flawless, something higher, you exchange your imperfect attention for its perfect attention.
Well, there's this idea that wherever consciousness is directed, positive growth always occurs. That's,
Or negative growth.
well, you know, if the thing itself actually causes, I mean, if it really is the thing that causes, let's put it this way. For the entity that's consuming you, there will be growth. Okay, who's next?
100?
Straight away.
I'm thinking 70.
Go for it.
Oh, you were at 50?
Yeah, of course. Do it, lock it in.
Changed your mind? Man, crazy. We've been filming for an hour and 20 minutes already.
Do 75.
But there's a feeling.
So 25, that makes 20.
Listen, bro. Please, take off your slippers. Why are you wearing them?
Take them off completely? But how? Do they bother you? Am I too, like, disconnected from the holy ground?
Well, first, yes, you're not grounded, and second, you're too stylish. I'm supposed to be the most stylish one.
Okay, well, fine.
Is this going to be a record or what?
Well, Georgie hasn't done 70.
And if you can't handle it, what do you do? Just jump off?
Can't handle it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes you fall down. I mean,
And you die, obviously.
so what? What's the point of living then? I just had a memory of being here recently. I came at night, did a workout at the gym, spent a couple of hours on the rowing machine while watching another podcast with Valentin. Yeah. And then boom, he's here visiting me. Also,
Listen, you should be used to it.
two realities. No, still, you know, there's this element that, but you're with me from a completely different sphere.
Right?
Boom, and two realities have collided again. Well, it's such a cool feeling that you were listening there and then boom, you're already here.
Listen, it's actually really cool for me too, yeah. Now, as for getting energy from a person, that's just really important. It's very important who you surround yourself with, the people you hang out with, and I think pilgrims don't come to you for no reason to hear your sermons.
Mostly we just chat, yeah.
Nice, he made it look so easy. Where are you going? Nice. I'm the blogger here. I'm the one breaking my boundaries. What are you doing?
No, you're breaking boundaries, but he's lighting a fire in your eyes.
Well, yeah, it's lit. You know, Georgie and I, well, we train together. His pressing movements are much stronger. I have my advantages in pulling, so I can do more pull-ups. But we're not doing pull-ups here, otherwise the video would be 7 hours long.
Man, if it's a good video, why not make it 7 hours long?
Well, actually, yeah. What's the rush? But it's fine.
No, well, let me think.
No, I could spend the night here, right in the basement, bro.
You guys should come over.
We'll do it. For some barbecue, huh? That's a good idea. It'll be great. And we'll sell tickets to the guys. 12,000 to be present at this grand event.
So, Artyom? How much are you going to do?
Oh, me? Let me go.
Let's do 140.
Okay, I'll try 100, but I'm going to scream really loud. Okay, so?
Listen, well, I don't know.
Of course.
Why'd you do a second one? Was it just a power move? What do you call it?
I felt like I could do more.
Like that? Not a muscle up, what is it?
A flash.
A flash of spirit. It was a flash of spirit.
Whenever I do one, I always have this mindset, like do a second one. Like a second one. Gotta do a second.
Yeah, gotta do a second one.
You do one, then cut the power and walk away. But I want to lower slowly to think. By the way, we're at 10%. The charger can't keep up anymore.
It's fine, we still have our phones. It's okay, we'll manage.
I'm gonna put on something more powerful.
And he gives me a slap on the head.
I've got some tracks here downloaded from YouTube. Theoretically, they shouldn't get flagged for copyright.
Well, I think just turn it on. Alright, we'll put something in the background. So, Artyom will do push-ups and I'll appear on the green screen like a TV salesman, you know? And be like, This is like a Call of Duty map loading. Playing like this, honestly, I think my current deadlift is pretty much toast at this point. Okay, 75 pounds. Who set this weight for me? That was so thoughtful of you. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it.
I charged them with success while I was setting it up.
It's styrofoam, a type of lightweight material.
150, which is 150.
It's playing in my head. It's playing in my head. Okay, 75 is my personal best. Basically, it's already more than my body weight, which I'm very happy with, but let's see how it goes.
Don't let it satisfy you. Come on, you can do it.
I felt like I could have been stronger. If I'd really exploded, it would have gone, but...
No, you could have. You could have.
You know, at the bottom I lacked... No joke, I just lacked awareness in the moment. I mean, I lost...
100%. Working singles. It's all about being aware in the moment. Look, there's one more thing. When you're going for a max weight, signals come from the spinal cord, whether it's dangerous or not. If you want to show a max weight, you have to ignore those signals. I mean, you have to ignore them, you have to put in maximum effort. A single is a road to hell. The longer you stay here, the fewer chances you have. A single is war, and the best strategy is a blitzkrieg. You really shouldn't hesitate here.
But I think I'll sit for about 10 minutes now, and I want to try it again.
Sure, no problem. I'll do it right away.
Go for it, Zeka.
Try taking it off. Just one plate. I'll do 50. A video with a dramatic arc. Character behavior. You have to come back. I owe you.
I'm thinking, try 75 or 72.5.
You'll do 75. You can't go lower. That's it. No lowering. Are the bets placed?
Gentlemen.
Victory or death?
Seriously? You'll bury me at the end of the video? There are already 2 graves, basically. I figured out how it works. When someone fails to perform the prayer of strength correctly, the one we're doing here, they break the person, put them under the floor, and they can only get up with a muscle up. Get it?
Strength creates its own situation.
You could just do that all day. It's... like my dialogue with him ended. Until the next plot point, I'm pressing... Explosion, let's go. Phew, almost hit the ceiling. You...
Look, you're dropping too fast. Too deep, right? There's no control. Well, I've never done it with such a heavy weight. It's called jumping right into it. It's okay, they're just rattling a little bit.
They were flirting with him?
That's it.
Yeah, I'll just come over here and fix it a bit. So, Georgi, how much?
Well, as promised, here we are.
Well, come on.
Maybe, this is actually a really bad idea, honestly.
100 kilograms?
Yes.
Well, you're feeling pretty good then, right? I take it.
No, look, if you're doubting, you've already lost. So don't take 100, take one less.
90? Well, let me think for a moment. How about maybe 90?
Let's do 90.
90 sounds good. Also, the handover of an important tool.
Well, you guys turned out to be pretty solid. Not just some scrawny kids.
Good to hear, good to hear. But we just had a little spiced latte in the center of Moscow and came straight here.
Though we have a group chat with our brothers in arms, those who train at a high level.
A good thing you clarified that. At the
High level.
Brothers in Arms.
It's called the Scrawny Kids Chat. Yeah.
Well, maybe someday... do they actually lift, though?
Do scrawny kids lift? No, just scrawny.
Just scrawny.
425s. Oh, wait, you won't do 100. Will you do 90? Yes. So that makes 15 and...
25. Lifting isn't the problem. The problem is eating. To be honest, at least in my case.
The problem is when you can't live without it. That's the problem.
Without what?
Without lifting and eating.
No, lifting. I like lifting. I don't like eating. Basically, I understand that my strength can continue to grow, even while I am staying at my current weight. I can keep making progress in strength for quite a long time. So it's not just about packing on a certain amount of weight, right? It feels like you really want to say something to me.
I want to convey to you a state of consciousness that you don't have, a state of power that you don't possess. And it's like trying to pass on a sacred experience. You can't just pass on a sacred experience, you have to feel it from within. Do you understand?
So, do you really think that muscles actually grow when you're not even thinking about calories at all? But about that?
Those muscles.
Well, to have mass, to be stronger.
To become stronger, you need to look carefully. Once again, you see, your goal setting is material, not spiritual. That is exactly why you will only achieve it with great difficulty.
Okay, fine. So how do I frame it spiritually?
Look, don't strive for the attributes, strive for the state of being.
I want, what? I want to be strong.
I want
To truly be in the condition of a powerful being indeed.
imagine that you're doing dips with, say, 150 kilograms. Don't think about the weight on you. Think about the state you'll be in when you're moving that weight. And that you are capable of moving it.
But how do I...
Oh, you see? And
How is that?
what is that state? That's the whole point.
Are you ready, Georgie? I'm...
Soaking in the last bit before this. Explode. That's it, that's it, that's it. Drop, 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 drop.
Please be careful.
My legs gave out, I dropped, my legs just gave out.
That was close.
Legs gave out, that's death.
I think I was descending for too long, it felt like.
Too long, 10 minutes. Not enough.
It's very strong. There's this moment when you lack experience, like I do now. For example, you don't feel that bottom point of the range inside, you don't feel the moment when you need to really push it hard. And as long as you have those micro doubts, like am I there yet or not, that really gets in the way.
Doubt is a crack in your armor. Where the arrow will actually hit.
That's right, that's right. I think it's better to do... Better if I don't quite reach a perfect range, but I get it done. I think so, yes? So I've made that choice now.
The main thing is not to lose the tension. I mean, you can just drop down like a stone, that's your problem. And that's it, you've lost the tension. You have to be like a slingshot. You stretch all your fascia, and at the bottom of the range, you're like a fully coiled spring. And then you fire. There.
Okay, now, it's your turn.
I'm done.
Oh, okay then.
At this very moment.
I need a little bit, maybe a minute.
Take your time. Well, if you can truly and genuinely master this important aspect of your life, specifically achieving and maintaining peak physical condition, then a whole new world of possibilities and opportunities will really open up to you.
And with judo, you'll really be able to, someone in particular, by the bulls,
I'm actually quite
peaceful warrior.
peaceful. Yeah, the good thing is, when there were scuffles in school, you could always gently trip them, gently lay them down, gently hold them, and dominate. And nobody gets hurt, exactly.
It's a really good sport, I think, for young kids to get into if it's
Man, judo is just an awesome sport.
Why didn't you, maybe go professional with judo?
Well, I just changed my path. Just because
Well, judo, it's
my inner demon called me to something else.
demon, right?
But the best psychologist for a boy or a man, even an adult, is really the wrestling gym. That's 100%. So,
75 pounds are now loaded onto the bar, marking an important step in your workout. The barbell sits ready, waiting for you to approach and prepare for your next lift with focus and determination.
well, that's...
I'm feeling it, guys. Let me put on something more upbeat.
Listen, let's do some deathcore if you have any.
Deathcore? What's that?
Deathcore. Well, something heavy, scary, where people yell and scream. Ah!
Okay. I've got something like that. Didn't make it again, damn it.
So anyway, 70 kilograms, new personal best. As I say now, your testosterone converted into estradiol. And now you're having a moment of self-reflection.
And I can also do a personal best on pull-ups right now. Quickly.
Go for it, you can do it. I believe in you.
Actually, there's this feeling of inner satisfaction. I mean, that's the cool part. Especially if Georgie hadn't done 75 for 2, it would have been great. So,
I mean, if he hadn't...
done it? Well then, okay, then it's fine. No, actually it's really cool, but I guess I'm lacking the satisfaction with the results. There's no hunger for 75. And maybe consciousness is primary, of course, but the body is giving out. That's also possible. Wait, my head just...
Shut off. That's what I call a papier-mâché machine gun. Well, this is exactly that high level when your body can't keep up with your mind. That's what I used to think. Now I understand. Everything is tied to consciousness. The assembly point can change at any moment. At any moment.
Well, of course, if you're well, your mom dies or you do 75 dips, I don't know.
Look, we're not solid. We're constantly flickering, reassembling ourselves. And at any moment, you can change your state. At any moment.
I think I want to try 72. I have this desire.
If you want.
But not right now, I need to...
Leave, bro. Need to leave as a winner.
Need to leave on a high note. Yeah, that's really not about strength at all, honestly.
You've already set a new record, of course. Well.
Yeah. So either... or 55, although you did it very easily, actually. How did it feel?
Well, that is a difficult question to answer. Maybe try 60 and 1.
Yeah, he's got 10.
60 is red, yellow, and blue, like the primary colors.
Red, yellow, blue.
Guys, I'm prescribing you as a preacher of the Temple of Strength to watch Baki the Grappler, at least the last 3 seasons.
All right, it's a deal. Georgie, look, you've seen it, right? Or not?
It's the most masculine anime. Well, it's cooler than Berserk, in my opinion.
In terms of raw masculinity, I suppose, perhaps.
To be honest, I didn't find any depth in Berserk. Though I only recently watched the 3 feature-length movies, the best ones, with the best graphics.
Well, that's a superficial immersion.
Well, the general philosophy is conveyed there.
Well, it's like, bro, reading the Bible just by the covers.
I'll say maybe I'm being a bit vulgar here, but honestly, I think there's drama, like 7th grade level.
Absolutely no meaning, no decent plot. Well, at what age did you consume this content? Berserk? Yes.
Just last year, only a short time ago, you know, Mum.
Listen, it's very possible that it's just too late for you. It's, a thing that depends, of course, on the format. Obviously, the manga is primary, then there's
The series.
But for many who consume it at 25 or 27, it's really not the time when it can touch your soul. Well, again, in my opinion, I do think that is definitely possible, Come on, let's go now.
Be careful,
You have a problem right there. A problem with eccentrics, meaning you're not holding the negative phase. Damn, be careful and live.
and learn.
So that's 60, Georgie. How much do you want? Got it.
Listen, I also recently watched Vinland Saga. Now, I'm not really a fan, not an anime fan at all, but it just happened to pop up on Kinopoisk, so I figured I might as well watch it, and so I did. And honestly, that's actually really deep. It's really, really deep.
Well, it's generally a big... Well, Baki the Grappler isn't there. Baki isn't about drama. I think it's more about that raw masculine stuff. Baki
isn't about drama? The father ended up killing Baki's mother right there, at that very place, because she had challenged him. You understand?
What grade level is that?
What grade level? And now, with a woman, his own wife, the mother of his children, but she challenged him. And he respected her so much that... How should I put it?
He didn't refuse,
He didn't refuse her, and to show pity in that moment would mean disrespecting an equal. Pity is for weaklings, and that's Yujiro Hanma, the strongest creature on Earth. So he accepted the challenge, no matter how bitter it was.
To kill someone? Was that really truly necessary? Was it really like that, honestly?
Well, he got carried away. Actually, it was very... Anyway, he hugged her so hard that he broke her spine. So, it's even romantic in a way.
No, well, okay, let's put it this way. I don't know about the drama, but the poetics are high.
Actually, I love Baki the Grappler not for any deep meaning, but specifically for the sense of power it conveys. I mean, if Berserk aims for some kind of dramatic depth, at least that's how people talk about it. But in Baki, it's just pure masculinity. It's just like, I am what I am. There's that separate movie, The Incredible Hulk, where he fights Abomination. I honestly just love to watch it right before I start a workout, Those few moments where the transformation happens, and I just get pumped up by that feeling. You know what I mean? What depth, what drama? None at all. But it's all about that state of mind. Well,
I see what you mean. By the way, I had that Norton Hulk movie as a cam rip. I watched it about 10,000 times, the fight between Hulk and Abomination. What's his name in English? Do you remember? Abomination. Truly, abominatia. So that's not for me, Georgie.
Yeah, the visuals and the sense of power there are great.
Well, Berserk for me is more like an ancient epic. I mean, it's more about... It's really a story about demigods, with Griffith as the charismatic and captivating hero, and Guts as someone who, although he lacks that kind of divine charisma, through sheer and unwavering willpower, manages to break the very archetypal structure where some are blessed by higher powers and others aren't. I mean, nothing was in Guts' favor for him to be able to do what he does. Simply put, what you watched ends with the eclipse. After that, he takes a sword that weighs 300 kilograms. He shouldn't be able to swing a 300 kilogram sword, but he does. Why? Because he's angry, because he refuses to die.
What attracts us to that?
Overcoming
He takes what?
his own agency.
It's the agency. He's doing what he shouldn't be doing, meaning he's turning from an object, from a phenomenon within phenomena. He takes the sword, he kills apostles that he shouldn't be able to kill. Essentially, he becomes more divine, and everything divine is aesthetic to us.
I agree. Aesthetics as a manifestation of the divine is probably the closest thing we can actually feel. Beauty not in a visual sense, but beauty that is felt in the very fibers of the soul.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you say things, I get a bit of goosebumps, and I'm like, well said, Artyom. Aesthetic.
Goosebumps are a very good sign.
Go for it, Gorgi.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
Leave it for now.
Leave it.
If you're doubting, don't do it. The tendons aren't ready. Look, in our tendons we have receptors called muscle spindles, also known as Golgi tendon organs. They react to the stretching and contraction of the tendon. And when a tendon is stretched in an unusual way, a signal is sent to the spinal cord. The spinal cord decides to inhibit the muscles so they don't tear everything apart, because the muscle is stronger than the tendons, or rather, the attachment of the tendon from bone to muscle. And that's why you get those jerks. That's why we drop like a stone. And that's why you only went halfway down just now, then hesitated, because there's simply no preparation. Yeah.
Is this 1.5 or 2? The plate?
It's 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, take it. Listen, so this archetype of, let's say, an ordinary soldier who gains agency through sheer willpower, that's such a popular theme in the game God of War.
God of War?
Yeah, it's the same thing there, the same idea, like, he shouldn't be able to, but he always succeeds simply because he's angry. Or in that, what's it called, the game Doom. It's essentially the same archetype there, I think.
No, archetypes are the same everywhere. There aren't that many of them, as you know, but here it's really like, Berserk. It lives very much in the nuances. Since I got really into it, I've made a lot of videos about it. I was actually one of the original popularizers in the Russian segment. I have 3 or 4 videos on Berserk. Many are nearing 1 million views, specifically with this analysis of what's happening. I got hooked on it when I was about 18 or 19. And I was comparing how it looks in the manga, the series, and the feature films. And it's a very nuanced story like that, so you have to, or rather, you don't have to, but like these retellings, they were made, what you watched, it's more, for those who are already familiar, who want to rewatch it with cool graphics somehow, that's the main thing. There's this problem that they can't seem to adapt Berserk properly. I mean, everything that's been adapted, it leaves out so much of the core material, because there's simply that kind of detail that's incredibly expensive to animate. Nobody wants that. So I'm not ready to back down. I think Berserk is very powerful. 25, so I need another 20 and a small plate.
But have you seen Vinland Saga?
Listen, I haven't been able to watch Saga. Everyone recommends it to me too. And overall, it's, part of that big trio of smart, manly anime. That would be Vinland Saga, Vagabond, and Berserk. Well, the popular ones. Vagabond.
I haven't even heard of it.
Vagabond, it's about Musashi and... Oh, there's no anime for it, it turns out. There's the manga Vagabond. It's called Brodyaga in Russian. It's about a Japanese historical figure. His name is Musashi, I don't remember the full name.
Musashi, I get it.
Yeah, you know him.
Hey, Musashi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Musashi? Yeah, the one who wrote his own philosophy.
In Bucky the Grappler, he's portrayed as a historical character.
I already grabbed 2, oh well. And they say it's great, but it's also unfinished. Is Vinland Saga finished? Does it have an ending? Yeah.
No, I mean the manga in general. if I'm not mistaken, Saga, or is it just one part, right? It's still being written, but I remember it's for nothing. But it ended really well in the first part. I don't know what's left to continue. Oh, there are 2 seasons now. 2 seasons, right? And the manga, I think, isn't finished yet.
None of them are finished. The guy stopped writing Vagabond, Kentaro Miura, rest in peace. Wait. What's
Happening.
Yeah, I'm doing something crazy here.
Not according to canon again.
Yeah, why is that?
Is that a sin? A deviation from the ideal line of behavior? Look, the hands do it themselves and so on, while you can still control it. That's how we live. Stop thinking, yeah. Well, yeah, rituals really do help us avoid, let's say, another fall from grace. At least, through these kinds of mechanical, pre-planned actions that we perform. And
I really like this idea. You rarely hear it in today's information space, that events, meaning what happens in the material world and what we experience in the fullness of our psyche, are higher than mental constructs, higher than thoughts. Because thoughts, words, and thoughts are very crude symbols that we use to try and describe what's happening. A ritual, it's an action in the structure of meanings, let's say real ones. It stands higher in significance. It's like more of a trump card than... So by performing some ritual, you're performing a mystery, the meaning of which is inside you. That effect, you can't fully wrap your thoughts around it. So you just have to believe and feel that impact that you'll get there. I don't know. For example, by attending a church service, right? Why do you go to a church service? There are chants. In some cultures, it might be combined with dances or with some kind of reenactment of scenes where you take on the roles of certain characters.
that's an interesting thought. So basically you're saying that a ritual action is less dense than words or thoughts.
I think if we mean less dense, as in higher, closer to some kind of energetic absolute, then it seems to me that eventfulness, the event itself, is higher than the thought, because the thought describes the event. The thought describes the experience.
Thought can do more than just describe.
I think that thought, not as a feeling, not as a point of consciousness assembly, not what you live your life through, but a thought expressed in words. I mean, specifically a mental construct, a scheme, you know? That's probably more of what I mean.
I've just had another concept come to mind. It turns out that first we have the primary, let's say, thought, something not dense, and at the same time we need a ritual action, as if we're coming from the mundane world and the spiritual world towards each other to find this unity, building a bridge from both sides at once.
Man's task is to unite earth and heaven.
Did it work?
It's beautiful.
Well, this will be easy.
Push. Come on.
Good.
Did you hit the full range?
Not quite, but for a max attempt it'll do. Well done.
Well then, got a little testosterone back. Ah, damn it. Sorry, guys.
No, why are you apologizing? On the contrary, it's a surge.
I actually feel a bit guilty swearing in front of you.
No, I scream in the gym like a... It's a different vibe here.
I feel good.
There's a bit more of a primal nature here. This is a temple of ritual actions. A temple is basically, created as a symbol of ritual actions.
Yeah.
This is the place where we truly synchronize the physical with the spiritual, indeed.
What if lifting weights is the ritual itself? Meaning not the biochemical processes that...
That's exactly what I'm saying. I actually have this quote of mine. Performing sacred rituals to accumulate a critical mass of spiritual power and singulate into the abyss of strength, bending space and time around oneself.
Well, I can't top that. Take note, warriors. How much are you doing?
I'm thinking 55. I'll throw on 2 more yellows now.
And how much did you try? 60?
I tried 60, yeah.
Okay.
You know, I see it like this, the way my thoughts have been forming just recently. It's just that, we came into this world to unite, the mundane and the spiritual, the dense and the ethereal. And that union lies through the integration of want and must, where duality is lost, where must is want and I want what I must.
The syntheticity, right? The unity of the inner. Well, if we imagine a person, they're torn by different drivers in all sorts of.
Wait, it's a myth.
Yeah, put it on. So a person is torn by all kinds of drivers, roughly speaking, meaning there are different imperatives, each wanting something of its own. And that's when we find our strength, when we manage to unite them.
To find wholeness.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a saying, people's problem isn't that they need to find a talent, but that they have too many talents.
By the way, yeah, that's...
There's this expert on human nature in narrow circles, he's no longer alive, Absalom Podvodny, maybe you know him.
I do, yeah, I'm reading his book.
Well, he has this concept of personality evolution where the penultimate level is the integrated level. In my own experience, I've had such life shocks, losses of loved ones and so on, when two different universes of mine collided, two fragments, two puzzle pieces that you have absolutely no idea how to put together. It's such an unpleasant feeling, actually. You lose your footing. And that's when I understood what an integrated level of personality means. It's when there aren't just 2 or 3 fragments, but many, and you were able to gather them all into a single, coherent whole.
But to gather them, you need to reach a higher vantage point that can look at them from above, to take charge.
To see the whole picture.
Yes, right.
And seeing the whole picture means looking at everything in the world, not as technology, but as, let's say, manifested subjectivity.
A magnificent fractal similarity.
How it's all the Holy Spirit. When a person reduces something to technology, they lose the ability to see the whole picture. That's what's interesting.
That's, by the way.
So you turn living nature into something inanimate, but it's alive. Everything is alive.
It's, that moment when a person becomes disillusioned with their ability to influence the world. I mean, when your worldview is inadequate, you can't influence the world because it doesn't respond the way you need it to. And a person who either expands their level of personality, learns to integrate it, or falls into this schematic thinking where everything needs a label, and it can even start to feel like some kind of, black magic when you greatly simplify the world so that you can control it. But in doing so, matter truly becomes deadened, meaning you refuse to see the multifaceted nature of things. For example, let's take some red pill story, that women are just this and nothing more. Yes, you limit them, you say, women are bad, they're this way or that way.
Yes. In relationships, it's the same thing, when we reduce another person to technology and try to technologize the process.
100%, absolutely. Let's be quiet so Zeka can go for it.
Nice. Good. Yes, it's 100. Raising children is the same thing. I mean, why isn't there a single educational method? Because that would be reducing a person to technology, which means not seeing the whole picture.
Look, a phrase just came to me. That is, for growth, you need to make your worldview more complex. But there's always a desire to simplify it. Like, say, some conflict starts. Some conflict between two social structures. What's the immediate desire? To call someone right, someone guilty, someone a victim, someone an abuser.
To fit the world into your worldview, rather than changing your worldview. Reshaping your worldview is hard and energy consuming.
Yes.
And I've had these recent reflections as well. If life is a teacher, then life is truly complete. It is absolutely divine, and we must, in every possible way, enter into a state of homeostasis with it. And when we find ourselves in conflict with life, it simply points to our own imperfections, our own flaws, and the areas within ourselves that still need to be understood, accepted, and improved. Therefore, life itself is, let's say, God. And it is God as reality, yeah. And when we merge with life, meaning nothing hooks us anymore, it means we've dissolved into life itself, so to speak.
I think that for a person, at least for the vast majority, if we're not talking about some prophetic figures, I think they can access brief moments of such a state, a state of wholeness.
Certain revelations like that, 100%, yeah.
But they're worth working for.
Flashes of spirit happen, like even a broken clock is right twice a day, as they say, it's true.
But about life as a teacher, yeah, if you see it that way, it really is true. I mean, that's honestly how it feels, truly. So much clarity emerges. I mean, you read the signs along the way, roughly speaking. So if an event isn't just an event, not just a coincidence, but an echo of my inner state and how I perceive it, then, well, I'm getting lessons. So every event is a lesson from which something can be gained. First, it grants this clarity, this drive, and life, after all, that's the beauty of it, that it's like, in a video game where there's, a game balance, that when you're playing a game, say, and you level up a bit, and now this zone is too easy to clear, it's become too simple because you've built a really powerful character, relatively speaking. And life, it has this quality of perfect balance. It'll never be too easy for you. And if you play it right, it'll never be too hard for you.
Everything's manageable, right?
Yeah. I mean, that positive vector is always available to you. And being in a positive or negative vector is actually a person's choice.
Yeah.
So are you in a positive vector, Georgie?
Yeah, I'm just doing 80.
Go for it, step on it. Maybe you'll do 2 more now?
Or maybe I really won't make any predictions.
No need to predict. Since we already made one plan, and the testosterone dropped at 75.
Well, in the end, everyone did their max.
When testosterone drops, life teaches you. Nice. Don't let go with your legs, squeeze the plate.
Yeah. I won't go for a second.
No, don't. You're overthinking it. Don't. About the eternal. No, you're right. No, the first one was good.
Oh. Did I do it okay?
I was worried if you go again, the silence just hung there.
No, you guys were saying something and it seemed to me that I didn't finish it. I got upset and my testosterone left me. Did it go up a bit now? I couldn't do second.
It's all good. I didn't even start talking. I only started admiring. Well, that's it. 80?
Well, okay, that's fine.
Nice.
You know what's most interesting? It also turns out that an integrated level of personality is when you, so to speak, were able to dissolve into your own microcosm. That is, you were able to find wholeness. And when you find wholeness within yourself, your grievances against the world disappear. I mean, life doesn't teach you anymore, you understand it. Because of this fractal similarity, you fixed everything inside, there are no grievances within, and so within the world, outside the world, you have no grievances either. So you're integrated on the inside, integrated on the outside.
I feel like communion with God is probably the closest thing I can compare it to. In those moments when I feel this, it's almost like time stands still for a bit, and I'm filled with a sense of peace and comfort that's hard to describe. It's a deep, quiet feeling, like being truly understood and not alone, and it means a lot to me.
That's 100%, it works.
Yeah, because everything is prayer, you have to understand.
I don't understand
why I call it communion with God.
Felt ashamed? Yeah, to say prayer. Prayer is, there's no need to be ashamed of it.
Well, you see, I guess my situation is that I really draw mostly from the Orthodox tradition, but at the same time, I can't call myself Orthodox. I'm a non-denominational believer. So I don't have, many believers. Like they kind of end up being limited, right, by Scripture, because Scripture was written by man. It's in any case. Yes, it was written by both God and man, and for man. So all the nonsense is from man, all the truth is from God, in my view. But you get limited, and it's hard for me. I cringe at the fact that what I'm saying doesn't bother me, and 100% doesn't bother the people I'd like to talk to. As I'm broadcasting, I know that the guys who've been watching me for a long time, or dudes who are generally developed, they understand that the walls between religions don't reach the sky, as they say. But maybe it's just such a rare position to broadcast, especially in this context, right? We came to pump some iron and suddenly started talking about these things, as if I have this little genie of some sort who looks on from the side and just infects me with cringe.
That, you see, it just shows your vulnerability, it's your doubt, your chink in the armor.
I think I'm not doubting whether I believe or not, I'm doubting whether I should be broadcasting about it in this language, that's probably it.
Right, but if you have it, you should. Just look at normal priests, for example. They speak, really normal ones who are like pop stars, but at the same time they're sensible people. They speak, they preach without any, shred of doubt, right? They speak because they believe. It's a firm position. Armor without a chink. I like listening on YouTube. I think his name is Alexei Uminsky, a priest. Yeah, and he also tells a lot of very interesting things. And regarding how we interpret it, he has a stream where he explains that the God of the Old Testament and the New Testament, they aren't different, but people perceive them differently. For instance, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth meant no more than that.
Yes, at that time, that was a progressive stance.
Yes, exactly, it meant no more than that. And then in the New Testament, it's turned the other cheek. So here, at least minimize the evil, but there, stop the evil, it turns out. And stop the evil that...
Stop the evil where your heart's boundary is, meaning the evil you might emit, yes. I think that, heroism is actually found in such small and seemingly insignificant things. None of us come from perfect families. And this evil, it travels from generation to generation because...
This, what do you call it, infernality, yeah, it sucks you in.
Yes. And just a person who was able to, stop it and say, yes, I grew up in...
Essentially, was able to become a subject. Subjectivity is a synonym for divinity.
Yes, I refuse to let this influence me. I refuse to be led by those states or by those forces that cast me into that state.
They do not predetermine me. I predetermine myself.
Well, yourself, probably.
Look, yourself means the kingdom of heaven is within each of us. God is with each of us, yes.
Each?
Everyone is God, every little piece of God, you see? There's a moment in the Bible where a rich man comes to Jesus and says, I follow everything and so on, what should I do? To be even closer to the divine. And he was rich. He says, leave all your wealth and follow me. He says, no, I can't do that. Then the the apostles heard all this and asked, what should we do then? He says, well, how do we achieve it then? You can't, it's impossible for a human. It's impossible for a human, but what's impossible for a human is possible.
For God.
And God is in each of us. Everyone is God. So Christianity isn't about achievements or progress like I'll get closer to God. It's about acceptance. That's what's interesting. And when I realized that basically when you pray to God, you're also praying to yourself. You are God, yet you aren't the same thing. You see? It's like...
nonsense on a logical level.
Important. Feel it.
Yes. Well, for instance, right now with with two friends, we're doing Bible readings. We sit and delve into the text. They're guys with good educations, like theological and philosophical backgrounds.
Oh, just like Peterson, so they're really analyzing it?
Well, it's similar. Yeah, it's similar to what Peterson does. And even, you say it's hard to feel, it's hard to describe in human language, and even simply, the Christian Trinity, that is, God is a triunity of three essences, yet remains one. From a human, worldly perspective, it's completely illogical, at least at first glance. But in certain special states, as you rightly say, it becomes, well, you can actually feel the truth of that proposition.
But I've managed to create a bit of a logical concept that can be understood. That if consciousness is primary, that is, this is the All-Father, right? The proto-consciousness that observed. What is consciousness? It's aware of something. It observed heaven and earth, meaning our world, observed observers in it, that is, in its image and likeness, the divine spark, the ability to observe. Yes, the ability to be a subject, and then it also observed itself in a human body. And essentially, it's all one, and it's all different. I mean, Christianity is also about the individual.
Well, I can agree with you. That's probably what's also close to me. There's like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's the source, the receiver, and the connection between them. So the Holy Spirit as the right.
Look.
So where there's one, there's also this situation. For there to be a one as a unit in our world, a two is necessary because one in a void, it's not registered. As soon as we have one and two, we inevitably have three as the relationship between one and two. So triality as a sort of basic minimum of conscious reality, roughly speaking. So we have the source, the mirror, and their relationship. So that's what we have. That's the minimum we need. And in that sense, the Trinity is something so profound. You can explain so many concepts through it, but what you explained is quite close.
Three gathers a critical mass of complexity to achieve singularity.
Yeah.
There's this phrase, the Son of God became the Son of Man so that the sons of men might become sons of God.
Yes.
Right, and I can also draw it visually. Imagine that the final point, the omega point, where we're all heading, right? And our sinless path for each person is like these ideal threads. They're illuminated with the same radiant light as that final point. At the same time, everything converges at this one point, and it turns out that when you're as close as possible to your true path, you're as close as possible to this vector, right? Yet it's your vector, it's a separate vector, but everything converges into one. And you're sort of praying to your ideal image. You're praying to yourself, so to speak, not in an idolatrous sense, You're praying to God, So that's hard to grasp.
You're praying the ability, how to put it, it's as if the ability is hardwired into each of us to imagine, if again, to put it crudely in words, the ability to imagine how I would live an ideal life, what kind of ideal person I would be.
The personality isn't destroyed, the personality remains, yet you're praying to God. So I don't know, I can't verbalize it somehow yet.
Yes, yes. And what you're describing
All threads converge.
into one, but
Each thread is separate.
yes, yes. And from complexity and difference, you arrive at something more unified, as it were, yes. Because ideals are indeed, well, let's say more unified, or rather, more collective. So maybe above this human ideal, there's some super radiant ideal that is already everything and nothing, and it like consumes itself and is born anew.
Like in the Strugatsky novels, you know, if reason is good, then super reason is, well, super good, but honestly, I don't really understand what super reason actually is. And to be completely honest, I'm kind of afraid of it. I mean, it's like a light, a really bright light that burns, you know? Something that's just so intense, so overwhelming, that it's hard to even imagine what it would be like to truly experience it.
Well, maybe that's why I don't really want to. It's not that I don't want to, but maybe like we're talking now and I feel fine, but generally I don't usually get involved. First of all, I'm energized by the boldness with which you speak. It's cool.
And I don't understand why on this.
Well, look, there's this thing where to someone on the outside looking at this, especially if they're an atheistic type of person, it's all just very uncertain and ambiguous.
Atheists are just very religious people with a minus sign.
Well, you'd have to explain that to them.
Let's say the synonym of love with a minus sign is hate, right? And the antonym of love is indifference. It's the same here. Atheistic people are people who are searching. Why are young people so atheistic? They're still close to God, so to speak. It's just that, let's say they have this conflict and they try to build a bridge and it doesn't work, you know, between the spiritual and the mundane. And so they're like,
what do? Well, many of them, yeah. But you see, if we have some layers and we have a higher ideal, beneath it there are ideals close to the highest. But still, somewhere in the middle of this remaining layer, these are ideals of reason, ideals of love, maybe, ideals of enlightenment, or even ideals of human will, right? And all of this also feeds people to some extent. Yeah, and many people on this impure fuel, not completely pure fuel, let's say it's, I don't know, it's 98% refined, but it seems to lack that certain quality, that particular thing that, from what you are saying, you appear to be searching for, that unique assemblage point that would truly unite you with whatever it is, whatever it may be.
it's the highest assemblage point, it's the ideal absolute, which is inherently singular. That is, it's impossible to capture. It's like light, which exists outside of time. From a physical standpoint, light exists outside of time. We have a certain speed of light, but in reality, the moment it's born and the moment it arrives is the same moment. And so it turns out, this ideal image, it's like light, it's something timeless. And so when we pray, look, every action of yours is unique. Every action of yours will have a powerful resonance. Now look, it's really just a pixel on this giant painting that we're creating.
Which you can't change anymore?
Yeah. So here's the question. When you have turbulence and all that, you know, during the day or whatever, what can you do? What single action would bring you closest to the ideal action in that moment? Prayer. Just sit down and focus your attention on that.
Focus your attention on your attention. That's how I'd put it.
You could say that.
I mean, explain well, evaluate the processes that are happening. Well then, the brain muscle has been flexed.
On this bright note, yeah, we can.
Man, I should have had some fly agaric too.
Fly agaric really hits you, yeah.
Well, look, no, I can't really say that I just feel an incredible, how should I say, a lift in my spirit. It's great to talk. I'm really energized and got a personal record.
Likewise. Actually, I have very few people I can philosophize with who won't get tired of it.
Mm-hmm. Right, I know what you mean.
I basically only have one friend like that who he comes to visit me, my philosophical brother. Otherwise, well, you probably know from experience, few people are ready to talk about deep topics.
Yeah, but when they find each other, it's cool, it's cool. Well, friends, I'll shake Artyom's hand off camera. I don't want you to see me squirming from his strength. Thank you very much. Artyom, thanks for coming.
Thanks for...
Wrap it up here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for letting us into this temple, this wonderful place. everyone left with records. Everyone left with records, Jenya. Very true.
Listen, we had a cringy start and a cringy ending.
But the middle part was so good. Come on, guys, subscribe. To Artyom, links in the description, to me right here. Right here on my belly, you can put that subscribe button. Peace.